You're listening to the Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It's April 6th. It's a new day. It's your favorite combo north of the Mason-Dixon line. I'm talking about Big Dick and the Angry Tensai coming straight at you. The last time you heard the Angry Tensai was before WrestleMania, but I'm here with a man who's been on the airwaves ever since. Big Dick. Big Dick, talk to us, brother. Talk to me, warrior.
New day.
New day.
New day.
I can either clap or I can snap.
New day.
Are the New Day your favorite tag team in the WWE?
I'm still masturbating to them. Their entrance this evening. They are my new favorites.
They had a little interview backstage.
Look, I don't know if everybody got word. Now, this makes that a hell in comparison. I'm not sure if you've heard about this or not, but Domino's Pizza is now just Domino's because they are more than just pizza. How does that make you feel, Angry Tensai?
When did that happen?
Happened, I think, last week or so.
I thought the only things you could get at Domino's Pizza were Domino's Pizza itself and then the breadsticks that you can dip in the sauce.
I think they now have like chicken wings too or something now. So they are more than just pizza, my friend.
So wait, I thought they always had the chicken wings though. So it's either the chicken wings, the pizza, or the breadsticks. So why didn't they just change their name 20 years ago?
Yeah, you know what? I think they just got around to changing their name. You're like, hey, wait a second. Probably
better late than never, right?
Yeah, exactly. People are like, hey, I want to order some breadsticks and some chicken wings from Domino's Pizza, and it just got old. It just didn't make sense.
True.
So they stuff up. But I was very pleased with that decision.
Well, I'm not really sure how that correlates to New Day or Raw, but I like it, and I like where you're going with it.
It was one of the commercials. So
there you go.
Some of us pay attention during the commercials for relevant information.
Well, the tag team division was on prominent display. The primetime players mocked the Ascension. I didn't really appreciate that. Further burial of the Ascension.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I was waiting for Jerry the King Lawler and JBL to hop on that and further bury the Ascension because, you know what? I just don't feel like they've been buried enough.
Well, you know, I thought it was interesting. Did you see Byron Saxton back on the air tonight? He is awful, man. I mean, my God, did he... You know how we start the show here and I go crazy and I get excited over nothing? Byron Saxton is hosting Monday Night Raw and he's like, hi, everyone. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. This is Byron Saxton. It's like, dude, really? You suck.
He is worse than Coach by far. He makes Coach Coachman, Jonathan Coach Coachman, he makes him look like an Emmy Award-winning announcer.
Coach
and that he is not.
Coach was better than Saxton, and Coach at least wrestled Batista.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually entertaining. This guy just seemed like a little...
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Saxton. Tonight, Raw did start off with a authority skit. We find out that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are on vacation, and Kane's in charge, and Seth Rollins goes on to talk about the exploits of Big Show winning Andre the Giant Battle Royal, of his great title win, and basically just mocked Kane and said, well, Kane, you were just Kane, and you were there, you know, and Randy Orton immediately came out, wanted a title match, but Kane decided, after being mocked, that tonight we were going to have a triple threat match to determine a new number one contender, and that number one contender would be determined between Roman Reigns, Ryback, and Randy Orton himself, and each one of them would be in a match tonight. And Kane books himself against Randy Orton. I thought that was interesting, in which he just decided to set up Randy Orton essentially and hurt him, and he tried to beat him with a chair. I don't know. What did you think of that whole segment?
You know what? I liked it. It sort of established as Kane as sort of almost a fairer badass because he sort of booked himself into fights. But I thought it was sort of stupid how Seth Rollins was so pissed off about him getting booked in the match at the next pay-per-view. It's like, hey, Seth, it's like you just won the title. You're going to have to fight the next pay-per-view, so we might as well set you up a match.
I agree with you, though. Like, what does Seth Rollins expect? He's not going to defend a title?
Yeah, so, I mean, like, hey, you know what? You're getting a chance to have these guys beat up. You're getting a chance to watch them, and you can run in afterwards and beat the crap out of them if you want to.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Seth Rollins was mad about, right?
Yeah, I don't know what he's mad about there. I mean, I think maybe, hey, you know what? I was consulted first, and I could have made a different match, but shit. I mean, you know what? You're going to have to wrestle one of those 2 or 3 guys. I was a little surprised that Ryback was involved in the possible main event. So he won. But hey, you know what? If they're pushing him back to the top of the card, I'm not against it. But pushing him right this minute is not necessarily the best move. I mean, I don't think he'll be at top of the card. I mean, he can put into a good feud there and possibly lead himself into some matches at this next pay-per-view and really establish him as a top face.
I was actually surprised by the time they got the triple threat match. I knew Ryback would probably be the guy to take the fall, but I was actually surprised Randy Orton won because, I mean, I guess I thought Roman Reigns would get the rematch because he really never got beaten fairly, but it's also kind of predictable because Randy Orton just beat Seth Rollins. So I feel like it's unlikely he'll walk away 2 pay-per-views in a row with 2 straight wins, you know?
Yeah, I don't think that Randy Orton loses during the pay-per-view, but I do think that this could be the best matchup moving forward and sort of solidify him as a top heel.
Rollins, that is.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is really, I mean, he won at WrestleMania, he was cheered. He had some people out there, I mean, coming out tonight, if it wasn't for the entire segment in the beginning of it, I mean, he was getting cheers. So I think that firmly planning him against Randy Orton, doing it now, and doing it for the next pay-per-view, I think that it's really going to push him as more of a heel. Whereas I think WWE wants him to be a despised face, which he's worked hard to become.
Well, I have a question for you, and I'm sure you guys covered it last week, but why in the world? I'm watching Seth Rollins tonight, and I'm watching his placement on the card, and he's fine, and he'll be a good champion. I believe that. And I like the fact that you have a champion that can work every week for sure. But I mean, you watched WrestleMania and you saw how over Brock Lesnar was. Why in the world would you take the strap off a guy who has maybe the biggest rub since The Rock or Stone Cold? I mean, I just feel like they have a guy with steam that we have not seen in over a decade. And you just took all that steam off him and took him off TV. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm sorry. I just don't understand. Because although Seth Rollins is good, you have literally the ultimate drawing champion that is an all-time great now. And you take the belt off him at his pinnacle. I'm not understanding this. But it wasn't even like he put someone over while he's at the pinnacle. It was like a bullshit loss where he didn't even get beat. Like, I don't understand, Vic. I was very confused. And Extreme Rules seems thrown together for me. So, I mean, can you explain to me? Like, I don't get it.
I don't know. I just, you know what? I think this is a case where they sort of book themselves into a corner here. I mean, they want to put somebody over, but I think they're too set on every match pushing somebody in one direction. I think that they need to not necessarily feel that, hey, every match is going to establish somebody as a star or establish somebody as a huge heel in the company. I think that they need to sort of let that go in some matches, maybe mix a tag team up or something. But I feel like in this case, they just overly pushing the heels and faces in the singles division right now.
Right. I agree with you. I think one of the problems I have with WWE today, and I don't even think it's their own fault. I think it's the evolution of the fan base. I think one of the problems WWE has is the emphasis on winning and losing, because they've done this trading losses thing, like where you win and you lose one week and then you win the next week and everybody winds up even. I think the problem WWE runs into now with the way modern day wrestling is I feel like if you lose a match, you're basically like done for a while, like at a pay-per-view. Like if you're in a feud and you're like Bray Wyatt versus Undertaker or Sting versus Triple H, when you lose that match, you're kind of like screwed for a while. And I think the de-emphasis on the tag team titles, for instance, has really hurt that, because now with no brand split, there's nothing else you can kind of turn your attention to. The guys just kind of get there in like singles purgatory, and sometimes you can't even get out of it. Mark Henry tonight is a great example. I mean, once he lost that feud with John Cena, I mean, he hasn't even come close to having a good story told since. So, I kind of look at the way things are booked now. You really can't lose. And the problem and the reason no one's over in WWE is because they push everyone to break even. So everybody's 50-50 and nobody's really getting a good sustained push. And I think the only two guys who've really gotten the sustained push over the last, decade are the guys who always win. And that's John Cena, CM Punk in his year-long title reign, Brock Lesnar recently. The reason these guys get over is because they win consistently. And I think modern day booking does not allow for guys to win consistently. And guess what? We can't all be world champions. And that's the problem with WWE today. Do you agree at all, Vic?
Not only that, but another example, you're saying it's so valuable with the wins and losses, and unfortunately they're killing pushes. Another problem with that is Rusev. I mean, he's been undefeated for like the last 8 months. Pretty much since he got started there. He loses the championship, and he's now at the bottom of the ladder, out of the picture. And in the future, Rusev's not going to be challenging for the world championship. He's going to get one more shot at the WWE US championship, and he's going to be relegated to mid-card. He's going to be battling Curtis Axel.
You know what, though? You're right. But I think if he won the rubber match in this feud, which he won't, but if he did, I think he could get back that push, because I think it would be kind of cool that he got the loss. But then if he ultimately wins the feud and gets the belt back, I think he's kind of back in the same spot he was in, don't you?
I mean, you know what? I think he is, but I don't see him taking it back, though. I mean, I feel like
I agree.
I really like John Cena in this spot here with this belt, because you know what? He's legitimizing it, and this is going to be, at least for the next pay-per-view and next couple pay-per-views, next couple months, I think he's really going to elevate the title. I mean, shoot, he had a match with Cody Rhodes this week. I mean, it was a 10-15 minute match. Cody Rhodes looked freaking great. He looked really good. And he's going to elevate people's game. Same thing with Ambrose last week. I mean, Ambrose is a hell of a wrestler on his own. But hey, a 15-minute match with John Cena where he loses, that elevates him a lot. So he's going to bring wrestlers up to his level and up to just the skill level needed to compete with him for a longer match like that. So I like this, where the wins and losses, they're going to matter because he has the title. But I think that it's going to be like a Bray Wyatt situation where, hey, you know what? A hard-fought loss in a lot of cases is better than a win.
Right. I agree with you. I love this John Cena wrestling challenge. I think it's kind of got an old school feel to it. And I'm really surprised that WWE is allowing this. I mean, this is kind of like a cool angle that I'm surprised they booked Cena on. I didn't expect this type of angle, and I'm like, wow, Cena got a really good angle here. But, to your point, Cena makes it a good angle. And, Cena is a good enough worker for sure, where I think he can hang with a lot of these guys. I think he's a good wrestler. I think he's decent, and he's going up against great wrestlers, and it just shows you he's got game. I mean, he's solid, and Yeah, I agree. It's been very entertaining. I've been very amused over the last 2 weeks. I think they've been good matches, and I think Cena's doing a great job with the title for the little bit he's had it. And I think the build up to him getting it was believable. He didn't act in the booking like he's above it. He's done a great job for sure. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Cena's been one of the bright spots on TV over the last month. So good for Cena. I mean, no offense, but I feel like Daniel Bryan sulking on Twitter and the way he acted when he won the Intercontinental title, I didn't think he was genuinely excited. I think that's the difference between him and Cena. I really do. And I think Daniel Bryan's just pissed because he realizes he's never going to be a sustained top guy. He'll always be at the top of the card, but he's not going to be the top guy. And I think Cena realizes, right now he's just in a role this year where he's going to make new superstars, and he's okay with it. But, I mean, it is what it is. And for what it's worth, injuries, they can hold you back from title runs, and we know that. And Daniel Bryan has a really serious injury. That's it. I mean, that's a big deal, and it's hurt many other superstars in their careers. WWE isn't going to put the strap on a guy who can't wrestle, So, whatever. Anyway, speaking of those singles matches we saw where Kane took on Randy Orton before the triple threat, Big Show took on Roman Reigns. Boy, did Ryback draw the short straw. He only had to wrestle Luke Harper. I thought that was a good deal for Ryback, huh?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't like these matches in general because I think we saw, at least with the Randy Orton match at first, shoot, it's like, why to start? It's not like you're having a match to get into the fight. Your name's already thrown in a hat. Why not kick your opponent in the crotch, aside from the fact that you're a good guy, get disqualified, and still go on to the match?
I agree with you. I thought of that. But JBL actually brought that up. He said something to the effect of, why wouldn't Roman Reigns just get himself disqualified? And he mentioned that these guys are competitors. They want to show what they can do. But I'm kind of with you. You have the number one contenders match. Why dilly dally?
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know what? You lose a match beforehand, but you save yourself 10, 15 minutes of energy. Shit, I think you do that.
After I saw the segment and I saw the first segment and Kane being kind of like the good COO, and not good as in a face, but good COO as in booking good matches and making the pay-per-view high quality, I actually thought Kane was getting so pissed off at Seth Rollins. I was sure, not that he would have won it, but I was sure Kane was going to book himself into a world title match tonight. That would have been cool, but
yeah. I could have seen that too. Or at least said, hey, you know what? You're going to fight me and Big Show or something like that tonight in the main event.
I just don't get why Seth Rollins picked on Kane. He really had nothing to gain. Like, everybody's been helping him, and they helped him get the title, and he's on top of the world. Like, why take shots at Kane? That's just kind of stupid.
Yeah, but I think they're trying to position it so either Kane's a more sympathetic heel, or eventually he turns altogether.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just didn't like how Kane was taking the shots and still sitting there talking and being positive. And I'm just kind of like, what is this? But he did book a non-title match for Seth Rollins tonight against Adrian Neville. I at first I was like, this is going to be awesome. This is so cool they booked this. It was a very good match, but I think these guys could have done better. I think maybe WWE told them to kind of go easy. It was still a very good match, but these guys could have done a lot more, I thought. And I was surprised Neville lost so convincingly, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? He had a hell of a debut last week.
It was amazing.
He's already at the stage where he's one name. He didn't start out as like the Reverend Batista or Deacon Batista. He didn't start out as Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose. He started out as Neville. That's like Prince, and that's what he's starting out as. I think that says a lot of where they see him in the future.
Why isn't he Adrian Neville? I mean, that's his name.
You know what? He's just Neville, and he's the man that Gravity forgot. In case you weren't paying attention when they
why did Gravity forget about him? Like, what did he do to Gravity?
I don't know, man. I think he might he might not be paying attention. Who knows?
Well, like I said, I think he was not told, but I think the way they booked the match was for him to look good, but not look like he should be world champion. And him going in there and doing what he did last week with Seth Rollins would make people think, hey, why isn't this guy going for the title? So, I mean, I think the idea was just to give Neville the rub, and that's cool. I mean, WWE did do something I did like. Whenever a new guy bursts on the scene, they have him win like 20 matches in a row, and then he's undefeated, and it's the same story over and over and again for Adam Rose, Fandango, all these guys. So I like that Neville lost a match early, which is not a big deal. And if you're going to lose a match early, who better than the world champion? So that was kind of cool. I thought that was neat. And I definitely don't think he lost any steam for sure. If anything, I mean, for him to get that match, Kane obviously wasn't giving him that match so that it was an easy match. Kane obviously is booking Rollins competitively. So I think that's pretty cool that Kane, of all people, believes in Neville as a serious competitor, which is cool. So I thought that was well done. I thought that was a nice segment. I appreciated that. What'd you think of the Sheamus segment?
You know what? I think he still looks fucking stupid.
You don't like the mohawk look with the black tights?
I don't mind that, but the goatee with the little rubber bands in it, that's very Bray Wyatt-esque, but it just doesn't go from like Sheamus being like the friendly leprechaun to now Sheamus all of a sudden having spiked hair and being mega heel.
Yeah, I think he's got to build up a little bit. I mean, he's acting like he's the biggest heel of all time now, and he mocked out Dolph Ziggler and said he can't find anyone his own size to battle, so he'll pick on these little guys. Mark Henry answers the call, and much to my dismay, the crowd was into the fact that it was Mark Henry, and I'm thinking, wow, what did we just step back into SmackDown a couple years ago? This is going to be kind of cool. You know, they always book Mark Henry against Sheamus. They have quite the rivalry. But Sheamus basically makes very short work of Mark Henry. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, man. I don't know. This whole Mark Henry comeback thing, I mean, he sort of got squashed really quick by Roman Reigns. Didn't make any waves at the pay-per-view. I mean, you figure he'd be like a recital, like, championship contender. And I just feel like they sort of fluctuated between, hey, heel face. And, I mean, he's done okay, but he hasn't really been a threat to win anything.
No. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with all this. I mean, Sheamus is. Okay. So what? Now there's another top heel. There's only one title. They really do need another brand, and I'm okay with that brand being NXT. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's just too many guys and not enough. Too many top guys and not enough spots. And I get that's why they're building up the IC and US titles so they mean something. But I don't know. I think that ship's kind of sailed in wrestling, the secondary titles. I think they're good for developmental guys and guys who are coming up the ranks. But, you know, you could pull off two brands. And if it's done right, they only wrestle once a year or twice a year. But NXT is so different than Raw that it can be a secondary brand. It doesn't have to be an equal brand.
That's the thing. I don't like the brand separation between SmackDown and Raw, basically because it's all the same wrestlers. And there's no real difference. I mean, hey, the guy who's the SmackDown champion is on Raw as well, getting his matches.
Right.
I don't like that. I want to be somewhere like, I agree completely. I'd love to see NXT, and I think that they do absolutely killer ratings. The problem is, where they are right now, what are you going to do? Bring the entire NXT roster up?
I don't know. They're better than half the guys in WWF.
Yeah, well, I think they also do a better job developing characters. I mean, like, it seems like a lot of the characters WWE creates, it seems like they're more, hey, you know what, fed down our throat. Whereas NXT, they can dictate, like, hey, this guy's going to be a star. This guy's going to be a star coming in, and it continues into their championship matches. So I think they do a better job trying to create stars.
Yeah. Well, you know, it is what it is. What else happened on Raw tonight?
AJ Lee certainly didn't wrestle.
Yeah, AJ Lee is retired. How do you feel about that?
You know what? I have a feeling that she was getting banged somewhere, and somebody made the biggest mistake of her life. They got her pregnant.
Let's light it up.
I'm gonna go with CM Punk. I think he's the one who got her pregnant.
How does her theme music go?
I don't even care anymore because she's not a diva.
Kevin, can you sing AJ Lee's theme music? No takers on that one. Anyway, there was a Divas match, you're right. Paige and Naomi defeated the Bella Twins with the ass bump from Naomi. What a cluster F this thing was.
Yeah, I like this. I like this new move. It's like pretty pathetic as far as booking is concerned, but she gets her ass bump in there, and it's almost like they're a Rikishi Stinkface. But I don't know. I think that I don't like the Divas division right now. I think they need to bring Charlotte in and maybe a couple other people up. But right now, I think the women's division is pretty weak at this time.
Main event tonight, Big Deck. Randy Orton walks away as number one contender. How do you feel about that?
You know what? I thought it was going to happen anyway. I like him. I like him having to earn it a little bit because it almost seemed like a shoe-in for the next match. So I like having they basically dedicated an entire Raw to putting him in place and making him look like a threatening face, while at the same time giving it. I think it helped define him, Randy Orton, as a face to the company and somebody who's going to get a lot of love from the crowd. Whereas I think it also started to get Seth Rollins more over as a heel, which I think they've had trouble doing. I feel like the last 2 weeks he's really been universally cheered, or at least given props for a good cash-in and good match.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I agree. I mean, well, that's the Rollins and Owens and oh man, Rollins and Orton in a way are both tweeners. Rollins obviously is more on the heel side, but there is a little mystique about him, and I think they're both meant to dance that line a little bit. What about Owens that I mentioned? Rollins, Owens, and Orton.
Owen Hart?
Seth Owens.
Seth Owens. You know what? He's a superstar to make. I really think he is.
He partners up with Chickenhead.
As his brother, Seth Rollins.
He's partners with Chickenhead.
Chickenhead. What?
Oh,
I told Kev we need to do a clip show, do 6 months worth of clips, but do it with us on the air to listen to all of the
and react ourselves.
Yeah, basically raw reaction to like bad and hilarious clips.
Kev, can we have raw reaction?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think it'd be 45 minutes of Benoit.
I don't know. I was a big fan of this Raw. I mean, I feel like last week they bring everything to the table with basically everybody right after pay-per-view. Great, like it should have been. But there wasn't a lot of follow up on stuff. I mean, they don't have Ambrose, they don't have Ziggler, they don't have Bryant there, and they all of a sudden somehow Ryback, who really didn't do anything, he lost in the Andre Giant Battle Royal, was in a position where if he won the match, a triple threat match, that he was wrestling for the championship next pay per view. It's just I can suspend disbelief for some things, but not something like that.
Right. I agree. Well, speaking, you used the magic phrase, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. During the first segment, wouldn't Big Show as the Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner, like, isn't he feeling good about himself now? And isn't he a competitive guy? Why doesn't he want a title shot?
Yeah, you know what? I think that's how. I mean, they're almost at the point with him. I almost feel like he was booked to win it just to sort of fill some contractual obligations. I mean, I don't think that in reality he's better off not holding a title because outside of, hey, you know what, maybe a transitional title run where you hold it for a pay-per-view or two and get out of there. And it doesn't even have to be the WWE Championship. It could be just a smaller title where he lends some legitimacy to it. But, I mean, I feel like at right now where we are with the champs, we are legitimate with everything.
Right.
We are going to do the best, and we're going to be set up for the best moving forward. I feel like they were in a rush the next pay-per-view to get scheduled, and they rushed it all. But at the same time, I like that, hey, you know what? It's 3 weeks. They can really get into the storyline, the Randy Orton and Seth Rollins storyline, and not necessarily just have it be about the Authority trying to piss off Seth Rollins.
Right. All right, I'm with you 100%.
So, I don't know. And you'll be happy to know, if you weren't a sucker in WWE Network last month, you can do it this month. You get the entire month for free.
Wow, again, another free month. Kev, any comments on that?
It pisses me off, but what am I going to do?
Why are they giving away your money? Why are you subsidizing other people?
No, I think they're so hung up on the freaking number. Like, they're like, oh, join the 1.3 million people who also signed up. Like, yeah, but 500,000 people of that who signed up is signed up with a free month promo right now.
Well,
Like, I feel like they're just trying to pump the numbers and make it a Me Too type expenditure. Where, hey, I need to have this because I can't miss Chris Jericho interviewing somebody else. I do like the primetime players being back. They were good talkers, and they were really struggling without each other. So I do like them being back. I right now would rank them as probably the number 2 best tag team in the division, but it seems like over the last couple weeks, the division's heated up a little bit, and I like it. You know who I'd like to see come back?
who?
Abraham Washington.
Birthday passed.
He was a good guy, and he was great on the mic. And I think he basically just screwed something up and went into business on his own in a segment and pissed off enough people where they ended up firing right away. It was a spectacular piece of the puzzle for them when they were a tag team. I like the Los Luchos Dragonos.
Yeah, we get to New Day.
Yeah, I mean, New Day is interesting because they seem to be sort of embraced the hate on them, and I mean they were very quick at the next. It wasn't even when they got out to the ring. I mean, they were doing a backstage segment, and it was like, hey, we couldn't help but noticing that everybody was yelling, "New Day sucks," and it'll be interesting to see where they go with this.
They hate New Day, man. They hate them.
Good. I'm glad somebody finally started verbalizing this. I mean, it felt like for the first 6 months of that angle, everybody was just politely sitting on their hands waiting for this because it was like, hey, you know what? We can't boo the only black team out there. And I didn't like how, I know I've called Xavier Woods Buckley before, but I think it sounded a lot less racist coming from Titus O'Neil when he hauled him onto it.
Well, I think we're a little long in the tooth here on the show, but we will be back next week and hopefully a little more well-rested. We here at Raw Reaction want to thank everyone for joining, specifically the Big Dick and the Big Kev. Vic, anything you want to say before we head out tonight?
No, I think I'm about ready for time to hit the music.
I'm very proud of myself. I didn't think I would be conscious by the time we went off the air, but we did it.
Both of us are conscious, I feel.
Thank you, Big Kev and Big Dick. This has been a great night and a great show, probably our best ever. Hit the music.